back into open session at 6:05 PM, November 13, 2025. Got a productive executive session. With that, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the city manager's report. Bob.
Thank you, Mayor. The city manager's report will consist of everything that I talk about here, including the items for the Public Works Department, and some of it may be reiterated through other correspondence, but I will go on forward with that. Finance will follow with David Mason. Police Department with David Sokol will follow after that, and then Misty Strode with the library. There she is over there. Okay. My city manager's update says that I would like to make this announcement. The city council, city staff, and city as a whole recognize the hard work and longstanding dedication of the now retired city secretary, Dolores Staver. Ms. Staver served the city of Weimar for over 49 years of faithful service to the city. Dolores, we want you to know that Weimar thanks you for your service. Now, my next one is the city hired a new city secretary, which started on 11/10/25. A new public works director starts 11/17/25. Each new hire has 20-plus years of experience and all required licensing to fully perform the duties of the positions. My dirty water update for this month is one complaint called in for the past 38 days. In addition to that, the Franklin area that came up in one of the prior meetings, we've fixed 2 sets of dead ends in that area. So it's at Cabot and Tekla, and then there's one at North Mechanic and Franklin. So we fixed all that. That should clear up and be out of the way. Then it talks about, let's see. My new target areas for looping dead ends are East and West Converse, East and West Grange, and East and West Post Office there at Center Street. There's a tremendous amount of dead ends in that area. Oh, yours? Okay.
I don't have a white shirt in the house.
Well, you will soon. A city water crews, as I said, have completed the water loop at Tekla and Cabot. The contractor finished the dead ends and the valve replacements. I signed his check today. Line flushing is continuing in the areas at the outside skirmishes of the city, just so we can get all that dirty water out of the way. Future target areas, I talked about those, are also future target, after the Converse, Grange, and Post Office at Center Streets are repaired, are West Market Street, West Church Street, West Charles Street at Center Street. Seems like up and down Center Street there was a lot of dead ends, and we're just going to loop them all together where the water's continuously moving. The TCEQ fiscal year 2025 MSW annual report for processing facilities at the transfer station has been submitted to TCEQ. TDS provided the report. TDS provided the numbers for the fall cleanup loaded as 3 trailers for 116,000 pounds or 58 tons of waste. We got rid of a lot of it, and then the storm came through and put a lot of limbs back down on the ground. I went to the Rates and Resources Council meeting on 11/5/25. It was a very interesting meeting, and although the numbers are fluctuating between the different fuels and some of the equipment that they're installing, overall the rates will not change for this next fiscal year. It should be the same, unless we use more, that is. If you use more gas, more electric is going to cost. And finally, the public notice for request for qualifications of design build construction manager at risk for the Walmart Sports Complex is an item on your agenda tonight later, and we may be able to issue the notice, the public notice for the contractors to look at submitting their qualifications to the city as soon as December 1st. And that wraps up my part. David, would you like to take Finance Department, please, sir?
Mayor, Council, I'd like to bring your attention to pages 5 through 18 of the council packet. I'll let you review that. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. David, is there anything in particular that you wanted to point out to us, or is it? No, I think everything is pretty much routine. Okay. We did open that fund, the Greater Fayette Community Foundation for the sports complex. We did write them a check for $35,000. Do you think that's sufficient for now? Yeah.
And In addition to that, let me barge in just a moment, David. I received an email from Fayette County Foundation, and the donor, one of the two donors has put in $2 million into the account. So that's a good sum of money. We can get moving. That's why I shoved the dates so far forward on that, to get the baseball field started, and get the grading and all the utilities installed. Okay, go ahead, David, I'm sorry.
That's fine, so yeah, no, that was the only one that really was significant.
Very generous.
Yes. David Soko, would you like to present the police department monthly numbers?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So during October, we had 273 calls for service, 22 generated reports, 2 arrests, both end up being family violence. Traffic stops, we had written warnings 15, verbal warnings 0, and citations 6. With 31 days of reporting, we average a little over 8 calls per day. It is an increase. Traffic stops decreased by 43%. Arrests stayed the same, and cases increased by 15.79%. Anything else?
Oh, that's it, sir, thank you. Misty Strode, library.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and City of Weimar. All right, I don't know what pages mine are on. I think mine are separated, right? Okay, down to the
23
side.
through 27.
All right, I'm gonna go through monthly visits. We had 685 in October. In October for our audiobooks, we had about only 20, so it kind of lessened down for that month. I was surprised, but since it was a longer month. And then on the ebooks, we went to 33. So I guess a lot of people didn't want to be on the electronics that much in October. For our city, for the circulation activity, we had 17,913 holds, that's counting books and stuff we have materials at the library. We have 1,794 patrons, and on loan right now is 309 on loan being used right now. So we did a pretty good job in October with the circulation. We want to think with the October calendar, y'all don't have this, but I wanted to point out a few things that happened in October. I wanted to thank National Night Out for the police department and getting the library involved in that. It was a wonderful night. You got to see the new chief with the pie in his face. That was fun. And then we had a new tryout on the Little Spoonfuls of Cooking class. We tried that on the 10th. We ended up having 5 patrons try that out, and it ended up being a really cool cooking class. So we're going to try to have it again in December with a Christmas kind of recipe for the little kids, and that was like 3 to 4-year-olds cooking with their parents. So that was pretty neat. Another good turnout we had for October on the 24th, we had a guest speaker, Foraging Wild Edibles. We had over 35 patrons in the library that day to check that out. So we had a really good turnout on that. And then our Halloween Hooked on Books was this year, and we did all dressed up like pirates, and we had over 100 kids, I'm pretty sure, digging for treasured eggs and picking up new books and all that good thing. And I want to thank the Weimar Rotary Club. They donated some money so we can buy some more books for the kids to hand out on Halloween. So it was a really good turnout with that. All right, upcoming for November. Not much going on with the holidays being around, but we did try to we're going to try to start up a book club. They had a meeting on Monday, and it sounds like a lot of Weimar people want to have a book club because we have about 10 show up, and there's like 10 other ones that want to join. So we're hoping in January we'll be starting our book club meetings and all that stuff. So that would be a good little New Year's resolution, so keep on reading. Also in November, on the 24th, we have a Monday movie. We're going to do Ratatouille. It's going to be at 2 p.m., and we have serve free popcorn and bottled water. So hopefully all invited to come to that with your family. Let me see. And I think that's it. So we won't have no chess on the 25th, or we won't have no exercise on the 26th, and we'll be closed on the 27th and 28th. So everybody have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Mayor?
Christie. We'll move to item 7, proclamations and recognitions. We have one proclamation declaring Saturday, November the 29th, 2025 as Small Business Saturday. I think that's at page 28. Whereas small businesses are the backbone of our economy and the glue that holds communities together, and whereas the city of Weimar, Texas celebrates our local small business and the contribution they make to our local economy and community, whereas the city of Weimar, Texas supports the efforts of local small business and recognizes the critical role they play in our community, and whereas Small Business Saturday is a nationwide campaign to cultivate business for small merchants on Saturday after Thanksgiving, and whereas Small Business Saturday will stimulate economic growth locally for small merchants by following in the tradition of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, two of the busiest shopping days of the year, and whereas we encourage citizens to consider shopping local merchants on Small Business Saturday as a way to boost the local economy and strengthen our small business community. Now therefore, I, Carlton Tucker, Mayor, on the behalf of the City Council of the City of Weimar and the State of Texas, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November the 29th, 2025 as Small Business Saturday in Weimar, Texas, and encourage all citizens to join us in this worthy observance and to support small business and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Carlton Tucker, Mayor, November 29, 2025. And I will sign that as such. Nothing else there, right, Don?
That's correct, that's all.
Presentations, we have one item there, report on the fall cleanup day. You did reference that earlier in your update. Do you want to add anything?
No, sir, that's pretty much wrapped it all up.
Very good. We'll move to item number 9, consent agenda. All consent items are considered routine and will be acted on by one single vote. The first item is the minutes of October the 9th regular meeting. That's on pages 29 and goes through 36. So if you could review that. And while you guys are reviewing, if you're okay, I'm going to move to item B, since it is a consent agenda. The approval of resolution authorizing the mayor and city manager as city's executive officers to authorize representatives in all matters pertaining to the city's participation in the home program, reservation system, and the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. And I want to read just one citation about that. It's resolution number 12-2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Weimar, Texas, authorizing Mayor Carlton Tucker and City Manager Donald D. Dixon, Jr. to act as the city's executive officer and authorize representatives in all matters pertaining to the city's participation in the home program reservation system with the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. And those are our two items under our consent agenda when the council is ready to act.
Mayor, I move that we do approve all consent items.
Second.
We had a motion by Wilson and a second by Scardino. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, we'll move to business. Item 10. This is for discussion, consider, and action. Item A, approval of changing December the 11th council meeting to 2 p.m. due to the Down Home Christmas event. This is an action item, and it's a regular act that we take annually.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion Wilson, second Clazel. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item B, approval of closing 100 block of East Post Street and 100th block of North Mechanic Street for Down Home Christmas Parade scheduled for December the 11th. That's on page 38. It's also an action item.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion Scardino, second Roberts. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item C, discussion on approval of closing Center Street, South Center Street, from the railroad to Market Street of vendors, or for vendors at City Pavilion from 3 to 9:30 p.m. for the Down Home Christmas event. This is an action item.
I so move.
Motion Wilson?
Second.
Second Roberts. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item D, request to go out for request for qualifications, RFQs, for the Weimer Sports Complex Construction Manager at risk. That's pages 39 through 41, and this will be an action item. Don?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a public notice that would be issued to the newspapers and to the other advertising agencies, letting the general contractors, construction manager at risk know that we are developing our new sports complex. It also tells the contractors that we are looking for contractors that are used to building sports complexes. We don't want someone in there that's building rehabilitative housing and so forth, come out and try to build a sports complex. You want somebody that knows what they're doing. The RFQ will also require that the construction manager at risk, or CMAR for short, will hire architects and engineers that are familiar with developing those types of projects. So when we get with the construction drawing phase and they're meeting with city staff, we'll also have the sports committee there to meet with them. And it'll be a pretty large group. We'll have a owner's representative there selected to represent the city by itself, but we'll also have two other city officials there representing the body of the governing body. We can do this as early as tomorrow if the council so decides to vote to approve this. And items, or page number 40 and 41, if you'd like to look through that, is basically just the instructions for issuing a request for qualifications for a capital improvement project in Texas. It is a multi-step procurement process governed by the local government code. Step 1 is secure the authorization. That's from the council. Step 2 is prepare the RFQ document. I sent that all to you guys today in an email. There's confidentiality clauses and so forth. And then step 3, publicly advertise the RFQ, which is what we're here talking about tonight. We're at that stage. I do have the RFQ and the contractor solicitation packet. If you'd like to see that, I can send that out as well. Just let me know what your thoughts are.
Just maybe a little additional information. Kyle and I are serving on as your representatives to the Sports Complex Committee. And Kyle, you want to give just a little information about that?
Yeah, so we've been meeting, I guess it's the second meeting we've had, just kind of going over layouts and meeting with people from Little League on it as well, and pretty much just waiting for the city to kind of get things rolling so we can get moving forward with it. So yeah, it's been really good meetings too, so it's been real good.
Great.
So that brings us to tonight.
Correct.
So when is the deadline, or when will we be applying for that grant again?
That's not until May 1st. We'll have to
We-
have it
we can
completely
start-
in by August 1st. We could start now.
Yeah.
When we got that $2 million cushion from the donation from the private person or party that has done that, we can get started with the engineering drawings, we can get started with them moving dirt, and whichever ones. They had, as I recall from the original Sports Complex Committee meeting, they had certain fields they wanted done first and certain things, and I told them, well, if you're gonna build the certain fields first, you also have to consider including the drive, the parks, the walks to those fields. You have to include the concession stand, the kids' playground for those kids that are too small, restrooms, possibly even locker rooms. If we're gonna hold venues there down the road, you don't wanna have just a restroom where they can go in and change.
Kyle was very helpful in that regard, and talking about it's really a phased process. It's not, none of this is gonna happen overnight. Remember, it's sat on the shelf for 25 years.
Correct.
At least
Yeah.
20. So, he explained rightly that we focus on phase 1, which is pretty much a softball and baseball field. Is that right, Kyle?
Correct, yeah, so the donor, their main portion that they're really contributing towards is gonna be the softball and baseball fields, so we're gonna kind of take that first. And really, I guess the first step that needs to be done is really get a full-blown survey on the subject tracks, so that way they can actually place the fields to where it's not just kind of just floating out in space. That way you really know what we're working with, so.
Great idea, yeah.
With all that, engineers would be able to lead us
Correct.
in that discussion. We have a wonderful wish list, but we do have a finite amount of financing. So what can we do for the amount of money that we have?
Correct.
So That's where we are tonight, council.
Yes, we have to get the RFQ issued, so the contract, we can get the contractor on board, because it is a design build, and they have their own architect engineering firms that they work with. And we won't be able to get the drawings until we get them on board. That's the big push to get it done quickly. And the holiday season's upon us as well.
Correct.
Well, I make a motion, we go out for request for qualifications for the Wanner Sports Complex construction manager at risk.
Motion, Scardino.
Second.
Second, Roberts. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Future agenda items.
Yes, Mayor. We have a couple of future agenda items. One is a zoning change for 216 Jackson Street from C1 to C2. They have applied and gone through the Planning and Zoning Board. They are supported by the Planning and Zoning Committee. They're going to make a presentation to the City Council that they support the zoning change. And the zoning change is going to allow them to obtain, well, they've already obtained it if the council approves the zoning, a conditional use to have dog kennels and cat kennels at the old funeral home over here. And they're going to build a nice looking wooden fence to secure the animals. And it's a top-rated facility. It really looks nice. And Mr. Shernock, the chairman, he had a personal input there that he's worked with those in the past, and he knows they do quality work. So he didn't have a problem recommending it. Right now, they do remote house to house, but their business is growing to the point where they need to start bringing people in and having them in one location.
That would be great.
Yeah, I could use it.
Board your pets, when you have to travel, that sort of thing, that'd be awesome.
It would.
Anything else?
Yes, there was a lady there also that was requesting to get a conditional use permit for a drive-through building. The building is on two sides, and they can drive through the building for service. It's a coffee shop slash, I guess pastry shop, where we can get eateries and stuff, no alcohol at this point. Our ordinances do not really address a drive-through building. We address drive-up buildings like McDonald's, the donut shop, and things like that, but this is going all the way through the buildings. And the chairman had reservations about approving something that the ordinance does not address, and he wanted to look at the possibility if the council would be open to an overlay just for the I-10 corridor area on either side of that C2 zoning to allow for drive-through buildings in case that comes through a second time.
But it would limit that.
Yeah, it would limit it strictly to the I-10 corridor area. It would not be down here on 155 or 90 or anywhere else. It's right there on the corridor. It has to be done through the planning and zoning and council process.
Any other code items coming up?
Yes, there is, thank you. We're gonna look at going in and modifying the food truck ordinance with just a simple exception. I'm gonna send this to the city attorney to make sure it'll fly, but I'm kinda building it like the building code would be built on. You got your set requirement, but then there's a little exception in there. If your building is not greater than 200 square feet, you don't even need a permit. Well, that's gonna have this instance in here where instead of they cannot park their trailer overnight, since it's a 2-day cooking event, like the chili cook-off or the brisket cook-off or your dinky, they can get here 2 days earlier than the event and get their long-term cooking meats, because they're talking bulk, they're talking several hundred pounds, brisket, ribs, whole chickens, turkeys, and things like that. That's gonna take a while to smoke. And I'm thinking, well, we can give them a 4-day window that they can bring their trailer in, park it, and leave it there cooking. I don't think they would man it or anything. The guy lives here locally. He'd probably just stop in and check on it, make sure the fire's good and hot on it. But they were wanting to present that, and I'm gonna present that to the city council in the form of modifying just the ordinance without having to go back through, do a zoning issue on it.
That'd be a lot simpler.
Yes, cleaner,
Yeah.
if that's possible.
I'll look at it.
Yep.
Don, I think we need to add the subdivision ordinance back on the agenda and kind of get that resolved and cleaned up. And then also, I'd like to see something on the trees, with the tree overhanging the right-of-way. I'd like to see it in the first quarter, get something resolved and figure out what we need to do in the first quarter, getting those trimmed. Like the fire trucks, you can barely, half the streets you can't drive on.
Fire
It's-
trucks,
Yeah,
buses,
it's terrible.
I'm glad you brought that up. I ran into a major problem with that. Danny and I were looking at several cities. No nobody really hits what we need to address, not like they do back in northeast, or north central Texas. That, like I said, there, at the edge of the curb, up to 13 feet 6, where the big trucks pull up and park, it has to be clear 13 feet 6, because that's the height a fire truck needs for clearance. And then over the sidewalks, the tree limbs have to be up 8 feet, but there's nothing like that around here, around these towns. I
No
checked.
ordinance.
Yeah, no ordinance that addresses it that specifically.
Let's get going at it if we can. I think we should. It's something
Okay,
that needs to be
I
done.
may have to look at another city and bring those specific dimensions in to get what we're looking for, because I
Perfect.
understand what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
You don't want a $500,000 truck and it's got a $100,000 set of lights on it and limbs tearing them off.
Correct.
That's just an unnecessary expense.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, I'll get started back on that.
Any other items for consideration for next month? Announcements, Don?
Let's see here. Announcements are Down Home Christmas event, December the 11th. And the Employee Appreciation, December 12th at 6 PM. I believe that's going to be at the Convention Center. Civic Center, yeah.
And certainly, we're all invited, as well as our employees, obviously. Becky?
Oh, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
And everybody seconded.